Okay. Yes. Hello. This is Ardine with her dad, Dr. Ardain Isma, and I'm here talking about his new novel, Bittersweet Memories of Last Spring, with a sort of book talk I wanted to do with him. Because this book has been such a great summer read for me. And I have a few questions I want to ask him. So, Dad, how do you feel about that?
No problem, because I'm always,
You're okay with that?
this is not the first time we have this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Not specifically about a new book.
But we've always talked about politics and what's going on in the world. But now we're diving into the world of literature.
Okay.
So, all right. So, just a few questions I have in my mind in
Okay.
regards to
No
the
problem.
novel, and brace yourself up this way. So,
Okay.
all right. So, first comes first, the character Vinko. What inspired you to write the character Vinko? Because he's like my favorite character in the book.
Well, I think you're not the only one who really likes Vinko
Mm-hmm.
for obvious reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tell the plot, but
Yeah.
this story is written in the first person,
Yes.
which means it's the protagonist who tells the story.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for something that could have some sort of a reflection upon myself when I was growing up in South Florida. So, in essence, I would say the character of Venko is the mirror reflection of young men who leave their countries, whether it's Haiti or somewhere in Central America or in the Caribbean or in Africa or Southeast Asia, but who leave their countries in the pursuit of the American dream. So this character, obviously, he's a refugee, and he arrives in the United States, where he speaks at the beginning, he speaks no English, but he navigates through all the difficulties that immigrants from everywhere face when they arrive into a new country. So worry of not being able to find a decent job, worry about understanding English, worry about going to school, and ultimately worry about his rejection, his humiliation, but ultimately his redemption.
Absolutely. Now, the two love stories of both Venko and Regine,
Okay,
and also Venko and Michaela. First of all, I love Michaela, by the way.
you do.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
She reminds me of a little bit of like me when it comes to love. If
Okay.
you're strong with it, you just stick to it. But
Okay.
she's not going to take any, crap from anybody, which I love a lot. So between those two love stories, what makes them kind of similar and kind of different, so to speak? Speaking in terms of writing in an author, so to speak.
Well, these are two different characters,
Absolutely.
and obviously, they have one thing in common is their desire
Mm-hmm.
to be with Finko.
Yes.
And what makes the story a bit, I would say, tragic in a sense, it's just the reality of people who go away to foreign land and who leave behind relationships that they can, arriving into a new country, to soon find out it's very difficult to maintain. And in the case of Venko, with relation with Regine, as a young man at 17, obviously you can't really commit yourself into a serious relationship.
That's true.
He comes to this country, so he focuses more on survival
Absolutely.
rather than on tendering or taking care of a relationship he leaves behind. So it is a very sad story, but it's the reality also of many people, immigrants, so to speak, who go away and living, romantic relationship, and they cannot really sustain it.
That's true. So,
In terms of Michaela,
yes.
that's a whole different picture.
Mm-hmm.
So he meets her.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, they belong to the same school,
Yes.
which makes the environment friendly, I would say,
Absolutely.
for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they find a chemistry that really attract them, and they don't want to let go.
The chemistry between those two, it's like it's magnetic.
Yeah.
Why did you want? And
Uh-huh.
plus there's the relationship between the Dominican Republic and Haiti.
Yes, and this is one aspect of the story that I believe that tends to be overlooked,
Yes.
or I would say overshadowed,
Absolutely.
by their romance between Venko and Michaela, or
Absolutely.
Michaela, if you
Is
want
it
to say
Mickey? I call her Mickey, but
Mickey, or Mika as
Mika
Venko calls
calls
her in the
Mhm.
story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed. Mika represents the other side of the island of Hispaniola, while Benko actually is from the western side, obviously, is Haitian. But also, there's one thing that a friend of mine, Mark Budman, who just written a very wonderful, beautiful review of the book, and he brings this, something that few readers, I would say, tend to focus on, which is Michaela's Haitianism,
Absolutely.
which she clearly says in a conversation with Venko that her grandfather is indeed Haitian.
Yes, true. She did explain that in the book.
Yeah. So that means the interconnection between the two,
Yes.
I would say, not so much linguistically because one is Spanish, the other one is Creole, but it's the lingering history between the two republics that share the island of Hispaniola.
I think that's what's so magnetic about it. And I think that's why they're like my favorite couple, because I just want them to win and succeed. And the fact that you also brought in the history of not just Mika, but also the Dominican Republic in relation to Haiti, I think it just grabs the reader a lot. And just their magnetism alone. Why did you want them to connect so well, so to speak? Why?
Well, I would say, first of all, naturally, love is love. It comes natural,
Yes.
unexpectedly, as you see. You didn't expect to meet some girl named Michaela. It's just pure circumstance that really brings him
Exactly.
into the path of Michaela.
Exactly.
So and they meet and they find common ground
Absolutely.
in every way, shape, or form. By the
Yes,
way,
absolutely, yes.
and then they stick together. So it's just like you would be walking down the street. And
Yeah,
meet
it's
someone,
that type of love.
and it happens. Just like when I met Mom.
Yes.
Okay, I never expected to meet someone in the back of my brother's car by the name Maurice, right?
Yes. So
But it happened.
it happens.
So, there's always an entry point, or the beginning, or a prelude, or a prologue of a story.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's what happened between the two.
I believe so. And then it's also one question I have is because you always hear it as a constant focus on when he goes to Barry University. His focus was just graduation. There was things happen along the way with love and all that stuff, but the main focus was graduation to Barry.
Well, this is the main objective of every young person who
Particularly-
goes to college, right?
particularly-
You want to graduate.
Absolutely.
Not just because you want to please your friends, your parents, who have made, in case of average folks, big sacrifices
Absolutely.
to get you to college. You don't want to let them down.
Absolutely.
And in Venko's case, one particular person, which is who is his sister, Nana,
Yes. For
sacrifices a whole lot to make participate, at least she contributes to the educational process
absolutely.
of her little brother. So Venko, put all that aside, he wants to succeed. And the only way that he can move into the mainstream of society is by an education.
Because that was just like his main vocal point. You know, him getting a job, him working at the furniture store.
Yeah, but you don't want to tell the whole plot.
I don't want to tell the whole plot, but it was just like a pitiful focus to it. And the one last question I had was Vinko's relationship with his sister, so to speak. You made them very close, and I really love that a lot. Why the closeness between two siblings?
But I would say that in the absence of a parent, you know, it comes naturally that the oldest sibling, you know, plays his role or her role. In the case of Nana, as both mom and dad at the same time. Absolutely. And Venko looks up to her for guidance, for everything, and in an instant subordinates himself into his sister's rules, and you know, and of course he cherishes his sister's love also.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it comes naturally, and Nana really, it's just like mom.
Yes.
The reincarnation of mom.
That's like it's like the reincarnation of mom, like my mom. You know, it's just
exactly.
that type of that love, and I really like that you implemented that into the story too. And it also reminds people of, you know, the story of immigrants that come to the country. You know, they don't necessarily have their mom and dad, but they have sort of like a sibling, like a family member that always watches out for them. I think that's a beautiful story.
So you know what, and I like I said, to some extent, that the story also reflects my own story.
Yes, it does.
I came in to this country very, you know, I was a teenager, and I can't believe it's been so long, more than 40 years already since the last time, you know, I count.
Exactly.
So yeah, and I had to go through a lot.
Absolutely.
So writing these lines, you know, I wrote these lines through the lenses of my own struggle.
Yes.
As a young immigrant, you know, and of course, it's a fictional story, but I think any immigrant, or anyone who has a heart, can easily relate to this story, to the struggle of Venko, you know, to his worries, to watching him going through trials and tribulations and ultimately succeed, and you know, in getting an education. So this is really a story to read, as you say.
Absolutely. So that's pretty much all the questions I do have. I don't want to give too much away for the plot. I tell everybody this book is for young people, old people, all ages. I guarantee you. Absolutely. Bittersweet Memories of Last Spring. This is the book of the summer. Summer 22. This is it. And any last words that you want to say?
Well, I just hope that anyone who reads this story would feel the same way you do.
Absolutely.
And it has a message. I'm not going to say it's a compelling message, but so far, everyone who has read the story and who has come to me to share their thought basically have said the same thing that you're saying.
Absolutely.
So which makes me feel that I've written something that seems to resonate.
I believe so.
To people.
Absolutely. This book, Bittersweet Memories of Last Spring, I mean, I don't want to make too many predictions, but I believe this will be a New York top seller hit, in my opinion.
Let's hope so.
I believe so.
Let's hope so.
Thank you for writing a
Okay.
masterpiece.
Thank you, Dudine. I think we'll do it again.